It's where you've been quote-unquote hurt. How do you deal with that when it comes to your relationship with her?
She knows. I tell her that, we're playing, and she understands it. She's not a big wrestling fan. She loves it because Daddy's in the ring. So, she's got a good concept of what's going on. If I ever did a thing to where I like that I was hurt, like if I did a leg injury or whatever, I would run it by her. I would let her know for sure, because I wouldn't let her be sitting out in the crowd thinking that Daddy's hurt. Now everybody else in the crowd go f*** themselves, but not my daughter. I would tell her that, what I was planning on doing and that Daddy's okay.
And is pro wrestling something that you hope that she picks up and carries on?
Hell no. I want to be a doctor.
A few more questions, and we're going into the word association. Is there any regrets that you have in your career?
Oh, yeah. I just wish that... And the only reason that I say this now is because of Isabella. I wish that I would have made a career of it and made money and be able to, buy her the world. That's it. I don't care about being famous. I don't care about and all that other bullshit. I just wish that I would have had, enough sense to make my money in a business and then her be taken care of.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Bill White. Where do you see professional wrestling in 5 to 10 years?
What did he say?
You didn't listen?
I said,
See what I did there, Hamrick?
Yeah, I see what you did, punk ass.
He said that he thinks that if there is a way that possible territories could come back, that it would thrive.
It's starting to look like territories. It really is. It's starting to look more and more like territories. Some good, some bad. And they may pop back up, which would be great for wrestlers. And thing, too, is it'd be good for all of wrestling, because if you go to a territory and you go in there and untrained and you don't know what you're doing, somebody's going to beat your ass for making their territory look bad. And that's what it needs to get back to. It needs to go back to, if you don't know what you're doing and you get in the ring with me, I'm going to stretch you. But if you do that, you're an asshole and you don't get booked anymore. It's just... It's stupid.
This is the Southern Savior, John Schuyler.
This is Chief J. Eagle.
This is Ethan Case, and you are listening to the CIW Report, pal.
PWX Wrestling. Live the experience.
It's time for your PWX word of the week. Unstoppable. There's your word. Now go to pwxpro.com, click on ticket at the top of the page, and then enter Unstoppable as the code. There will be 2 winners per week. Head on over to pwxpro.com for your chance to be a part of Rise of a Champion 10. We'll be right back with our featured interview on this week's Carolina Independent Wrestling Report right after this.
This is Bryce Anthony, one half of the Sons of Steel. Make sure you check out Boomer Payne and myself in the Sons of Steel saga every Friday on Spreaker.com.
Now to more of our interview from this week's featured guest on the CIW Report. All right, it's time for word association.
All right.
First name that I see here is NXT.
I don't know him. I like NXT. To me, here's the difference: NXT and WWE. WWE, they wrestle WWE style, which is okay. And you got to consider, if these guys are wrestling 4 or 5 nights a week, WWE style is perfect for them guys. As fake as wrestling is, as everybody thinks it is, it fucking takes a toll on you. It really does. Because each time you hit that mat, that's real. And eventually catches up with you. NXT is more like good indie wrestling. They're letting them go out and they're letting them do the thing. They're letting them do the shit that they were doing in PWG and everywhere else that were good. And I think that's what the difference is. And to me, it's better than Raw or SmackDown.
WWE.
I don't know. I mean, that's the place right now. The man's on everything. Unless Jarrett makes did you watch the Jarrett thing?
No, I did not see it. I did not see the pay-per-view.
It was good. It was very good. And I think it could make an impact. But WWE is, the big dog right now. So, if you don't go there, you try TNA. If you don't go there, where do you go from there? Ring of Honor?
Okay, not the report and not the website, but Carolina Independent Wrestling, the scene.
I work for 2 promotions, so I really couldn't tell you what else is going on in the Carolinas. And to live up to that whole status, I really don't care. I do know that Omega's coming back, and to me, that's guaranteed money. Because when you got Matt and Jeff, and you got Hurricane, and then you mix that in with some guys that can go, that's success any way you look at it.
Okay, you made it easier. They were further down in the list, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. The Hardy Boys.
I love Matt and Jeff. I've known them forever. People can say what they want to about them, but they paid their dues, and they've earned the right to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. And they're still making money. Matt's making money like crazy, and he deserves it. He's done his time, and he deserves to make money. God bless him, man. Made that money. But to me, you want to know who I think the smartest wrestler in the world is?
Absolutely.
CM Punk. Punk went in, he did his time, he saved his money, he got the f*** out. Punk's young enough to where he'll never have to worry about working again, and he can enjoy life every day to where his body's not f***ed up, and he's young enough to enjoy it. So he got in, he made his millions, he got the f*** out.
With you saying that, though, that leads to another question. What about with him signing with the UFC? I mean, that's got to put some wear and tear on the body.
It does, but how many times do you do it? Once a month? If you only do it once a month, and, unless you get your neck broke or something like that, hell, that's doable. And plus, think of the money he's going to make. And then he may get in there and get his ass beaten. That's done with it. You never know. And
the last organization that I'm going to mention is the one that really took your career off, and that's ECW.
There ain't no ECW no more. That's what pretty much I owe my career to. It's been, 14 years, 15 years since ECW folded?
Something like that.
People talk about it like it was yesterday. Any conversation that you've ever been in a locker room or anywhere else, have you ever heard anybody bring up WCW ever?
Okay, well, that leads to this. You are inside of the ring, and...
Am I getting paid?
Yes, absolutely, you're getting paid.
Okay.
But it starts at the back...
Am I getting my full guarantee?
Yes, you're getting your full guarantee.
Okay, go ahead.
But the sound starts at the back and works its way to the front, and that is EC-Dub, EC-Dub, EC-Dub. What goes through your mind during that time?
It still makes me feel good, and just that, man, it's been 15 years since ECW folded, and people still talk about it like it was yesterday. What other wrestling company has ever had an impact on anything like that? And for me to be able to say that I was a part of it, a small part, that to me is my wrestling career. I was joking around a while ago about the Christmas thing or whatever, but to me, ECW was where I knew that I was where I wanted to be.
2 more names on the list. The first one is Paul Heyman.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't really deal a lot with Paul. Paul was out busy trying to find a TV schedule or station or something like that. Paul had the ability to talk you into anything and making you believe that you could do it. I think he just got tired of ECW. I think Vince made him an offer, and he took it to where he wouldn't have to be dealing with the headaches of being a promoter and getting a payday for being a manager. The only thing that I hold against Paul is you run a company, and you know every weekend that your guys are out there busting their ass, knowing that they may not get paid, may not get all their money, may not get no money, but they still went out there and they busted their ass for the fans. And, you know, you don't even have the decency to tell them that you're making money making a movie when you're supposed to be out trying to find a television station so that we can stay afloat. You know, that was very dishonest, and I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have had, you know, my group out there busting their ass and me, you know, doing something else that I'm not supposed to be doing and them thinking that I'm doing something else.
And the last name on the list, outside of being the quote-unquote hole, Chris Hamrick.
Well, he made Christy Mess. I don't know if he ever told you that.
I think I heard that a couple times, yeah.
You know, it's cool because I've built a reputation of being a hard worker. I've never done a lazy match. I've never went in and gave 50% because the crowd was small or I didn't like who I was working or whatever. I have the reputation of where somebody sees if they're working me, they get a smile on their face. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Ryan Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar? He texted me the other night, and he was like, hey, it looks like it's me and Dirty against you and James Drake for SWA. And he goes, I finally get to work. You know what? Dude, lower your standards. So I have that reputation of where if you find out that you're wrestling me or whatever, it's not like one of these, if anything, I'll build a good reputation for myself. And I'm Christmas.
All right, Hamrick, it is time for you to do the shout-out. No, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm going to go back, and I am going to throw one name at you, and I'm going to hear what you got to say about him. George South.
George South. I like George. I've never had any personal heat with George as far as not liking him. And me and George talk all the time through text, and we're cool. I told George the only thing that I've ever had against him was that when he goes to the ring, sometimes it's a little too fakish. It's just like if he's working one of the students and the students f*** up a spot, you know, he'll holler out, do it again and get it right or something like that. And to me, if I'm on a match after him, after he goes out and does that, how am I supposed to go out and even try to make my shit look real to where it's even halfway believable? But I have no personal heat with George South. I like him. You know, we get along. Just that was the one beef that I had about him, and I told him, and he told me he had a problem with me chewing gum in the ring. So I'm not going to quit chewing gum. I'm pretty sure he's not going to quit doing that, so let it go.
Here we go. It's time for you to do the shout-out where you acknowledge people, either in a good way or a bad way, people that have made some contribution to your career.
Well, I like to thank Vincent. Him. He ain't never done nothing for me. Nova. Funny thing about Nova is, you know, him and Kick-Ass were teaming up before I ever went to ECW. And I remember being in the locker room one time or something. He's like, hey, man, Nova said, hey, he's on the phone. And I went, Nova don't know who the fuck I am. And Nova goes, oh, yeah, man, he's the one that does the fucking bump through the ropes. I went, wow. So, like, we became friends in ECW. Matter of fact, the first night that I ever went to ECW, he's like, hey, Chris Hamrick did the bump through the ropes on Raw, on Monday Night Raw one night. And I went, yeah. And Joey Styles did the same thing. And then when Nova got in the office for WWE or whatever, if they had an extra spot or something that he knew that I could do, he would call me and give me the spot, which wasn't a big deal. Here's the thing, too, is like when these wrestlers go to WWE for the Astros or whatever, they're trying to do their best, you know, to try to get a spot or whatever. That I want a payday. The funniest thing ever was I was supposed to do something with WWE. And I was staying in Pittsburgh, and they were in Ohio. We were supposed to be there at 11 o'clock. I showed up at 4. They checked the list. My name was on the list, so I walked in. I went straight to the gimmick table, got my money, And then as I was leaving the gimmick table, I saw Tony Gurria having a